All right, the highlights from GreatStockPicks.com, December 12th, 2012. 12-12-12. The chat room here. I'm going to go over the calls from today. Now, this was an FOMC day, and I usually just trade the mornings here. Kind of hung around all day, but I probably sent out a caution in the chat room probably 10 times today, reminding everybody, hey, there's going to be whippiness, and it's not my favorite. Anyway, I had a nice day, but not as nice as if it wasn't FOMC. I'm extremely cautious on these days, by the way, because the market can whip all over the place. Excuse me. Anyway, had RIM on watch because a little mini breakout yesterday, and I'll add today's candle. We got some follow through. Show you how I called it. It was actually pretty simple. RIM was in a fairly narrow range, looked like it was going to sell off, and then came right back up. And so my long idea, and the thinking is, again, that daily chart absolutely has room to run, and the bulls are in charge right now. So my thinking was up over all the intraday highs minus the high of day break. So literally my call on RIM was 1268. Whoops, and let me turn that off there. 1268 right here, and a worst case stop 9 cents below 1259. All right, so there's the trigger. Then we light up the high of day ticker, and it really holds well and ends up closing at the high of the day. So we got a nice 66-cent move in our favor. A lot of our members made money on this one. It was one of those real nice ones. I mean, look at the high of day break. It happened, there was no hesitation. You're just green and scaling out. So those are fun. When they work right away, they're always fun. Moved 66 cents in our favor on 9 cents risk, and never even came close to coming back to our entry after the call. TEVA. Now this one I didn't even have on watch. I'll show you how I found it. It was, I think I found it on a volume scan. And look at this. For a week and a half, this had run up, and then in 2 days gave it all back. I talked about a little bit about this in some recent videos. You notice the most recent low before it started that run was right there. Okay, right below, right there was the low. Now look what happens. And I talk about this a lot in our chat room. Oftentimes you'll see it comes right down below where the obvious, takes out the stops and reverses. So couple this daily chart. This area was already in interest. Plus, sometimes you get a wash and rinse below the whole number. Couple that with the fact that it had our one of our favorite setups in chat for an intraday reversal. And that was a stock that's really beaten up, starting to get fast to the downside. You can see a little shape change there. And that's how we type it out. Our members know what I mean. I typed out TEVA, T-E-V-A, starting to get a shape change, something like that. So then, couple that with where I wanted it below 39 and as a stop run, and I switched to 2-minute candles to simplify it. And look at the beautiful little stair steps there. I called this on the first break of a previous 2-minute candle. So I had a nice little doji candle here. The entry 39.05, the stop 38.96. No, that's not right. 39.05, and the stop went below this candle. I'm sorry, at 38.93, 38.92. I'll get it right, I swear. So anyway, the stop was 13 cents below. How's that? And there's the trigger. Let me get an arrow there. The long trigger is right over that little doji candle, and a low of day stop. And look at this. It base for a little bit, and then starts to pop, and ends up moving up a nice 62 cents on 13 cents risk. JCPenney's, JCP. Now, some of our guys in chat were able to catch this spike. We kind of lately have always had JCPenney's and Best Buy on watch because they get nice spikes every now and then. Some of our guys in chat saw this volume spike here and were able to get in real quick somewhere around here. I didn't make a call on it, but then when it came back down, I told some people it could be a buy around the 520 here, but I didn't call it or take it there either because it's JCPenney's. But then when it puts in this little base, and then you've got the spike high and the high of day to the left, I call that stacked catalyst. I went and called it long over this base. My idea on JCPenney's was 1943 with a stop at 1930. Look what happens. There's the 1943 trigger. Then you take out the high of the spike, and you take out the high of the day, and it goes to 1957. That's all it could muster, but it did work right away, and you could have paid yourself anywhere in there. At the end of the day, the market sold off, but it was quick, easy money, but it certainly didn't rally like I wanted it to. Speaking of Best Buy, I called Best Buy BBY. when I saw this volume spike. I like the way it sold off early and reversed and came back down in this volume spike. I went ahead and called it long at 12.14 if it gets there, and it did right there. Sold some on the high of day break, and the stop, I can't remember where the stop was, 12.04 I think, dime risk. We got another push through the high of the day, and we sold some more, and the rest of the day it chopped around. But anyway, Best Buy, JCPenney's, RIM, Teva, all paid us. And I think that was, I got a dime loss in, DKS, Dick's Sporting Goods. This thing is, wow, right? Way oversold. I don't know how many red days in a row that is. Was watching it today. When it started to get kind of fast to the downside, see that volume there? I went ahead and called it over this candle, 47.84. And when it went up and couldn't take off, it didn't hit the stop, but it started to bounce up again. I went ahead and took a dime loss right in here. I said it just didn't feel like it was going to go. So I did lose a dime on DKS, and you can see it ended up closing weak. But that will be on Bounce Watch again tomorrow. That thing's way overdue for a bounce. First Solar, I can type FSLR. Some of our guys, again, caught this at the open on this gap up in volume. I didn't. I went ahead and I don't think I messed with. Actually, when it looked like this, I did say high of day break could give a nice trade, but I didn't call it because we were right upon FOMC coming up. Okay, so it ended up working for those that took it. I ended up calling it as a long idea because it had come this far back down to an area of support. I called it long over this candle 32.35, and it went up a dime. I scalped some, and I was back out when it came back to my entry because somebody, right after I called it, somebody in chat said, somebody just came out with a real negative comment on Solars, and so I knew I didn't want to hang out if it didn't rally. So basically ended up with a flat. Maybe I think I got a sandwich out of First Solar. Let's see. Scalped an early dime in US Steel. US Steel, I like the daily chart a lot. Had this big wedge pattern. Thought it might continue from yesterday's nice volume. And so at the opening candle, it gapped up and then sold off. I thought, when it started to come back up, I said, if this breaks the high of the day, you have yesterday's high as a catalyst too. Went ahead and called it 22.60. And it quickly went to 22.75. I sold some into the break because it was an early trade. I always do that. And it came back down to my entry and I was out. Anytime I take a trade in the first 15 or 20 minutes, I'm extremely defensive. I'll scalp some. And sometimes, guys, these will run away. And you can just enjoy the ride on the rest, right? So there's nothing wrong with scalping some, going to a break-even stop. It's not that often, unless you really catch one, that they run away. It certainly wasn't going to happen on FOMC day. And look at this. This is a great example of FOMC day. You break out here, then you come down, rip through the lows of the day, and then right back through the highs of the day. And then back down to the lows. So this is why I don't really like FOMC afternoons. This action in this circle here, and that's not very easy to predict because the market just whips all over the place. And also had a flat in Smith & Wesson today. And that was the entire gamut of today's trade. So have a great night, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.